Into the Wild, written by John Krakauer. John Krakauer was born April 12, 1954 in Brookline, Massachusetts. His father introduced him to mountaineering at 8 years old. He graduated from Corvallis High School in 1972 and went on to graduate from Hampshire College in 1976, earning a degree in environmental studies. His career in writing started with his job as a journalist for Outsider magazine, but his work has also appeared in Architectural Digest, National Geographic magazine, Rolling Stone, Smithsonian, and his other books. One of his many books, Into the Wild, is a fascinating story about a young man named Christopher McCandless who trades his mainstream way of life for a life of living on the land in the midst of the Alaskan wilderness. The story begins with Chris McCandless graduating from Emory University in Atlanta, Georgia. He tells his parents that he's going to spend the summer traveling in his car, which is a used yellow Datsun. Chris arrives in Nevada, where he abandons his car after it's been damaged by a flood. He loads his belongings into his backpack and sets out on foot. Chris hitchhikes to many different places where he meets Jan and Bob Burris. Once he reaches a place called Cut Bank in Montana, he meets Wayne Westerberg. Chris buys a canoe and canoes down many rivers. He sends a postcard to Wayne Westerberg at the Sioux Falls Work Release Facility, and he reaches the Morelos Dam near the Mexican border. Chris encounters dangerous waterfalls as he canoes along the Colorado River. He realizes that he will not reach the Gulf of California going the way he's going, but he meets some duck hunters who drive him there. After a long time of hiking, Chris is headed for Alaska. While hiking near Fairbanks, Alaska, Chris is picked up by Jim Gallion, and he drives him to the Stampede Trail. Chris discovers bus 142 on the Stampede Trail and decides to stay, taking advantages of the bus. While staying at bus 142 on the Stampede Trail, Chris kills and eats many animals, including a grouse, duck, goose, and porcupine, also including edible plants. After only hunting and eating small animals, Chris kills a moose and tries to preserve the meat, but after discovering maggots on it, he abandons it to wolves. Chris packs his backpack and starts to hike back to the road, but comes across a raging river that he can't cross, so he heads back to the bus. Chris began to feel sick and weak after he thought he ate bad potato seeds. Chris leaves a note on the door of the bus while he goes to collect berries, asking for help. Chris McCandless died on either August 18th or 19th, 1992 of possible starvation in his sleeping bag on bus 142 in Alaska. There were parts of the book that I liked and didn't like. I enjoyed the parts that were just about Chris's time in Alaska and about his life. I think the main reason I didn't like it was just because of how much it skipped around and wasn't a complete story. I would personally not recommend this book to anyone my age just because of how much it does skip around, but I would definitely recommend it to someone older who could understand it better. Something I found interesting about the book was the type of family that Chris had come from.